This is the American Public Radio.
WCPN Live with your host, Seona McDowell.
This is Seona McDowell, WCPN, and I have in the studio Mr. Stress, and it's great to have all these wonderful people. We have Bill Miller, who's on harmonica, Nick Tranchito, who's on drums, Raymond DeForest, bass, Tim Matson on, is that how you pronounce it, Matson on guitar, and Mike Sands on piano. And you've probably all seen Mr. Stress down in the Euclid Tavern, and I went there I think last Wednesday or the Wednesday before, and it just knocked me out, and I said, you've got to come on the show. This is the only way we could get him on. Come up here, Bill, and join me.
Hello.
Yeah, because Bill, you're always working, aren't you?
Well, as much as I can,
yeah.
Which means weekends, and because we couldn't do a Saturday night because we do have an open-ended engagement at the tavern on Saturday night.
Right.
So we were pleased to put it on.
Well, perhaps in October when we go down to the downstairs concert hall, and we can actually pay you, Euclid Tavern might give us Euclid Tavern might give us 1 night of you come down and do a live show. Wouldn't it be fun?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, before we do any more talking, let's play something. What would you?
Let's do a thing called Further On Up the Road. Further on up the road, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, woman, you just wait and see. You've got to reap just what you sow. That old saying's so true. Reap what you sow, baby. That old saying's so true. Where you mistreat someone, someone gonna mistreat you. Where you're laughing now, baby, someday you'll cry. You can laugh at me, baby, someday you'll cry. Further on up the road, you'll find out I wouldn't lie. Pretty baby, someday you'll cry. You can laugh at me, mama, someday you'll cry. Further on up the road, you'll find out I wouldn't lie. Up the road, up the road, when you're all alone and blue. Further on up the road, when you're all alone and blue. You're gonna want me to take you back, baby.
That's really wonderful. It's Bill Miller. Bill Miller singing is great.
Trying to.
Trying to sing.
Without a monitor.
Without a monitor, it's wonderful. But this is the Mr. Stress Band here.
Yes, ma'am.
And Bill, I know we were having earlier discussions. You've been playing for, come on, are you willing to tell us how many years?
How many years? Well, I've been at this for about 19 years, and people will tell you I've only been playing for the last 2, but don't they're just lying. They're just jealous, that's all. Yeah, I've been doing this for 19 years now, and for most of the time, we've been lucky enough to have Mr. Sands with us on the keyboard. He's a veteran of the first original band, and it's a wonder that didn't drive me out of the business just, in itself, but Mike's a good sport. In fact, there's another Cleveland piano player named Jimmy Lay who says that Mike is his favorite pianist, and coming from Jimmy, that's high praise. And
what about the rest of your band then?
the rest of them, well, no. On the guitar, I feel that you're lucky, and as we all, to get this down on the air with, on the guitar, a man who was with us for 9 years and just back with us on loan for a couple months, Mr. Tim Matson. Tim is considered by his peers, and that includes the 9th Street Pier, and, and a few others. Tim is considered, actually, by other musicians, to be Cleveland's finest young exponent of what we would refer to as fairly pure, traditional sounding blues. He really has. There was a time last week I was standing up there on the stage and he played something, and I was no longer at the Euclid Tavern. I was in a bar in Chicago, and it was a Magic Sam's thing that he played, a fine guitarist, Magic Sam, and Tim played this riff, and all of a sudden it wasn't Tim anymore. He really has. Your dream come true. Yeah, yes, it was. It wasn't Tim. It was, and he just. It's really a pleasure to have him back for these 2 months. And I'm sorry he's going to go on way onward and upward to fame and fortune. Fame is a town the other side of Akron, and fortune is no. And on the bass, a young man who came into the group with Tim and couldn't hardly play at all. And in 10 years he can hardly play. No, in 10 years with us is again a man who I've been told by other musicians in this town. He said, "Man, that guy is really hot." Mr. Raymond DeForest, our bass player. And Raymond is leaving in the middle of October, it looks like, and although we have a competent replacement, as we always have done over the years, we're going to miss Ray. And, of course, on the drums, a man, if he left, we wouldn't miss at all. No, Mr. Tranchito has been with us a good 8 years now, and this is his second trip through the band. He didn't get smart the first time, and he's back. And, again, Nick is one who is recognized by other drummers. The guy is the most solid beat, a metronome sense of anybody I've worked with, and a lot of people just tell me that constantly, other musicians. I get a chance to hear. We're kind of a musician's band. A lot of guys, when they're off, will come down and listen to us on a Wednesday or Saturday night when they're not working, and it's quite a compliment in itself. But I'm real pleased with these guys. I'm sorry to lose any one of them, but that's the way it goes in this business,
Yeah. Well, I'm really surprised that when you weren't in the room, they said, "Well, let Bill do all the talking." I'm surprised, all the insults flying. But they dared let you do the talking.
They get even in more subtle ways. That's why do you think they quit all the time?
In other words, they change key in the middle of a song.
Well, yeah, that's been known to happen. They said nobody knows the difference anyway. So.
Play us another one.
Okay, you want to do a blues? We'll do a thing. This was written by a guy named Jimmy Cotton, a harmonica player, and it's a thing called One More Mile. It's been a long, hard journey. I won't have to cry no more. Keep your lamp burning, baby, so your man will know the score. One more mile. People, just one more mile to go. You know, it's been a long day's journey. People, you know I won't cry no more. I did wrong when I took a gamble. People, I bet my money wrong. I was betting on my baby, and my baby wasn't home. One more mile. People, just one more mile. Well, it's been a long day's journey. People, you know I won't cry no more. All right.
Oh, that's the blues. That's true. That's wonderful.
Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to play that type of stuff as much as we'd like to.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that's why this particular band does work for kids who know nothing about blues.
Yeah.
But they come in and they listen to the stuff with the R&B beat, the more modern danceable stuff, and they listen, and they occasionally let me sneak one or two of those in every
Right.
45 minutes, and I guess that's better than not being able to do it at all.
That's true. That's one of the wonderful things about this program and about radio is that you get to do what you want to do. You know, they don't say sing something that's bright and popular.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about your station, to listen to jazz. And
Yeah.
for years you couldn't hardly, unless you were up at certain hours, get jazz on the radio. And I wish they'd put a little blues on. Maybe they'll work on that.
Right.
Of course, they are right now.
Right, that's true. And we've also got another blues band that's been the bass line is from
yeah,
Kent.
yeah. I remember those fellas. They've been in the tavern. They're older fellas,
Yeah.
I believe, and they're supposed to be very good.
But
I've
wonderful
never heard-
stories. You know, they've been
Oh,
around
yeah.
for
Oh,
like
they've been
100
around.
years. One
nice.
of the guys is 76 years old.
Oh my God.
Right. Isn't that wonderful?
So I'll be lucky to climb on a stage. And what was that? What? You said something?
So you were talking. Now they were talking about pay scales way back when they were talking like $2 for a night and $3 a night.
Oh, yeah.
What was it when you first started?
Our first job was $5. We worked at a coffee house that used to be located in University Circle. It was 50 cents at the door, and the band got. We almost got a lot of people. We got $5 a piece for 5 of us, I guess. So it must have been a pretty good crowd. I can remember working in '71 at a place called Jiffy's Bar on 71st in Lexington, and we got $10 a night, for, $40 with a 4-piece band. And then I left that job and went right to the Executive Club and played the Beechwood After Prom for $100
My God, that
a
must
piece.
be-
It was
Woo!
it's a culture shock, you know.
Yes.
Whoa, whoa. So the pay scale is these guys insist on getting paid well when they work, so they get paid pretty well. Right now, we have a pretty good bunch of guys we work for. We've worked for them for 6.5 years. They treat us with respect, and the best thing of all, they don't charge you for booze if you're in the band. And that,
Is that good or bad?
well, surprisingly enough, we don't really have a problem with that in the band, except other than myself once in a while. And then when I get to that point, I start talking about the good days, the old days, and I ramble on and on ad nauseum, until the guys in the band start, yelling at me to stop. Usually that happens about between 2:30 and 2:45 at closing time. I get into this nostalgia trip.
Well, if you want to see the Bill Miller show, then.
Yes, that's what it amounts to. And these guys don't want to hear it. They want to go home. In fact, he's halfway out the door. Mike is usually gone by the time he...
Well, I was there on a Wednesday night and it was absolutely packed, which is really hard on a Wednesday. Is it Wednesday that was
yeah,
it?
Wednesday and Saturday.
I was there Wednesday night.
No, I believe you're there on a Saturday.
Oh, was it Saturday
I
after
think
my
you
show?
maybe worked.
Yeah. Right. It was a Saturday. It was
You said
packed.
you got off early enough that night to
That's
get up
right.
and...
That's true.
I know you had a good time. You were dancing quite a bit.
I danced
And,
my feet off. I
I
love
always notice the women when they dance. The men are faceless, nameless. The women, In
Well-
fact, that's what keeps me going, is that one song that we do. In fact, that's a real brilliant segue into a song called So Many Women, So Little Time.
What
I
about?
think
Are you going to do that for us?
We will if you,
I'd love
unless
it.
you have some more questions.
No,
Or,
please.
Somebody called and gave me the word. Got to tell you people, this is what I've heard. Won't cost you nothing, won't charge you a dime. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. Times I wonder why I'm alive. Hustle and struggle to try to survive. That one thought keeps me alive. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. Every night it's a different time. And sometimes I'm feeling down. I have some smoke and I drink some wine. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. That someday I'll make a change. That one thought goes through my mind. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. Somebody called and gave me the word. I got to tell you people, this is what I've heard. Won't charge you nothing, won't cost you a dime. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time. So many women, so little time.
So, I was just out getting coffee for you guys, if you're wondering where I am.
I'm surprised to see these guys drinking coffee. I didn't think they drank anything that didn't come out of a glass bottle.
Bill, tell us, you were talking earlier and saying that in Chicago you played at some huge venues. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Back in the late 60s, it was the whole business was different. It was wide open. We played the Grande Ballroom in Detroit, which was the rock emporium in the Midwest. We opened for, I think the first time we were there, we were bottom act on a 3-act bill with Cream. We were there with Steppenwolf was the top act, and then Three Dog Night was the middle act, and we were the opener. So we had been there. I was scheduled to open for Zeppelin. We got to Detroit, and we got bumped by a group called Gold Earring, but they paid us anyway because we were already in Detroit. And that's the way the business was in those days. You could get in as a band with if you had a decent agent who made a decent enough impression and maybe a tape, you could actually get into these kind of places and open for these. And not today, recording bands are practically shooting each other to open. You know, it's a whole different trip today. It's a real tight business today.
So have you ever played at places like Blossom?
We were at Blossom last summer. We opened for a fellow named Joe Jackson, who I really enjoyed. His first album was that swing thing that he did was excellent. In fact, I first heard it, I said, sounds like one of the old big bands. The guy really had the thing. Yeah. So that was quite a pleasure. Poor Tim missed that one by about a month. He had just left us, and we did that. That was a pleasure. I mean, you talk about being treated like rich musician, you know. Hey, their dressing room showers. I got to take a shower after the job, you know.
Well, when you play the blues, you sweat a lot.
Well, it's just the idea. Most of the places we play, they're lucky there's a men's room, much less a shower, you know.
I was talking to you. You were talking about a recording contract that you got in the early days.
Yeah, 68 Capitol Records, big company, offered us a contract, and it was a standard industry contract, which means that everything was in the favor of the company. And I called out to California, and I said, gee, you know, you're not guaranteeing to release this. You're not going to send me a producer. I said, I'm not a producer. They said, well, we'll call you. And that's the last I ever heard from Capitol. I guess you're not supposed to question when a big company gives you a contract, but if I'm going to tie myself up for 3 years, I'd like to see the thing on the market, at least to guarantee that they're going to put it on the market.
Yeah.
They did give it to a fellow named Chicago Slim, and the album, I think his album ended up in the cutout rack in about 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So they didn't promote it or anything else, you know. So.
No, that's disheartening, isn't it? That's one of the reasons I left Australia, and that's why everybody leaves Australia for the same reason.
Just they record an artist, and that's the end of it.
They use the local artist as a tax write-off. That's what it is, really.
Well, I know I look at it lovingly now in my old age and say, gee whiz, what if, you know. But in fact, one of the guys that was in that band decided he didn't want to sign a contract. He wanted to go off to Florida and get married. And every time I see him, I have to give him the business about that because he's, of course, long since not married. So I just have to kind of stick it to him. Yes. Don't you wish you'd have signed a contract? It would have cost you a lot less, you know. Things like little remarks like that, you know.
Well, most of your band, most of the people here, or you don't talk of it as your band because they're all people together.
Well, musically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because I make sure I'm the only guy with a microphone, I handle most of the front end duties of the band, so to speak, and deal with the club owners and the reason I deal with the club owners is I'm the only one with a permit for a pistol, and. No, seriously,
club owners
yes. Well, there's always a club owner somewhere. So I deal with them and deal with the agents, and it's become, because I'm the only one except for Mike from the beginning, and I kept the thing going even when I didn't have Mike on piano. It was difficult, but somehow I kept it going. And I've become the recognized front man. So on paper, as far as, let's say, the union would be concerned, I'd be the leader. Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, your name is synonymous with Cleveland. When I first arrived,
really?
There were several people that said, no, this and these people, and Mr. Stress was one of them.
The jokes about Cleveland, they make jokes about me too, I guess.
Right.
It's really unfair to make jokes about Cleveland.
What I was going to say is, you know, they have the Cool Jazz Festival and they have bluegrass festivals all over the place. Why don't you start the Hot Blues Festival?
Oh yeah, they had one here at Blossom. They had one, and the only Clevelander in it was Robert Jr., who is somebody you should get on to if you can can find him. Robert Jr. Lockwood, he's based here in town. He did it, and I would have loved to, because I, feel that we deserve it at this point to be on that kind of a venue, but. I think most of it, I keep it going because I enjoy it. And you never know, someday out there, somebody might give us another chance at a tax dodge. And maybe this time we'll sign it, knowing, a little better than we do now.
Well, what about giving us something else here?
Well, here's another appropriately entitled song. It's I'm sure the band will agree with me. It's called Don't Start Me to Talkin', because I'll tell everything I know.
Before we do that, let me tell you, this is Seona McDowell, WCPN, and I've got Mr. Stress in the studio with me, and Mr. Stress you can see on Wednesdays and Saturday nights at the Euclid Tavern. Well worth going to.
And once a month at Cheers for those West Siders. We don't want to,
leave them out.
Go down the road, stop at Fannie Mae's. Little Chillo Fannie, what I heard her boyfriend say, don't start me to talk. I'll tell everything. Break off this signifying, somebody's got to go. Jack gave his wife $10 to go to the market. Gets out on the street, Mike saying stop her. He knocked her down, he blackened her eye. She gets back home, tell her husband a lie. Don't start me to talk, I'll tell everything I know. borrowed some money, go to a beauty shop. I honked my horn, she began to stop. You take me straight around the block. I'm going to a beauty shop and get my hair done up. Start me to talk, I'll tell everything I know. Break off this signifier, Lord, somebody's got.
No, you guys, really can't go on the road because you've all got sort of other jobs.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we don't go. The other is nobody's offered us enough money. And that's probably the primary reason, because I think we play a college concert now and then if the price is right, and if everybody can swing it, we're happy to go out and play. And but to play a bar in Toledo pays the same as a bar in Cleveland.
True.
And so it costs a lot more to get there.
That's right.
And like we played a job at a high university, I believe in Athens, and I had the pleasure of that night of sharing a motel room with Michael Sands. It just goes to show you what happens over the years, you know.
I tell you, that's what happens with me.
I had no problem sleeping. The man is extremely boring. There's no...
That's terrible, isn't it? I mean, I've been booked in with 4 musicians, you know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You know,
one room.
One room, it saves money that way. Timmy and Ray turned around and went home. That's how cheap they were. They wouldn't even spend money.
We have to stay with him.
Thank you. Nick, you had friends down there. You have, friends that you were able to stay with. Lucky you. But that was 2 years ago, and that was the last time we've been really out of town for any length of time, and they were willing to pay the price. And
well, there's
was
lots.
fun.
There's Cleveland State. There's lots of universities.
Yeah,
and
close by.
I think that all these kids that are coming through now should be exposed
to this.
So
yeah.
you should go and rap on their doors and say, listen.
Well, we've just talking to our local booking agent. In fact, one of the biggest ones in the city is going to try to do that with us for some of the colleges, and they've been good to us. This agency has got us Blossom and a few other things, and the high buck things, you know, the high the high prestige things.
Icing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So we get out of a bar, we have geared so much to being a dance band in the last 8 or 9 years in particular, that we get into a concert, and we just did an opening for Sun Seals, the Chicago blues man. And it was a little tough to go back, and we did 4 slow blues in a set, which was like, whoa, because we played an hour and a half set too, which was unusual.
Right.
An hour and a half in a bar, that's half the night, you know, if we did that. We play usually 440s or 445s in a bar setting.
Well, I mean, for instance, the second half of the show is going to be Tom Paxton,
Ooh.
and who I interviewed out at Oberlin College. Now, for 4 years, Tom Paxton's been brought out there for the kids for the orientation. Orientation, is that what you say here in America?
Yeah.
Your words are slightly different. And I said to Tom Paxton, well, you know, like these are 17 and 18 and 19-year-old kids. They're really into other stuff. And he says, well, it's a music college.
Yeah.
And they come in knowing that they're not going to get rocked. And so they say, we may as well sit and listen. Now, see, that's what they should have.
Yes.
Something like blues and stuff that the kids don't get.
Don't get a chance to hear. Of course, we are, a friend of mine teaches a chorus at Cleveland State, and he's been sending his music students up to us. On Wednesday nights, they'll be asked, I can always tell when a class is on field assignment, they're always asking me these questions, and of course, ruining my whole break. There's a blonde over there, I want to go talk to her, asking me questions about music. Get out of here, kid, leave me alone. Yeah, we do get a little of that, but you're right. There's so many colleges here that should be doing that, and they don't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You have to knock on their doors, Bill.
Yeah, well, it's true. I have to go talk to them.
Nothing comes to you.
I know, that works. No, but see, that takes away from the important things like in life in the summer, like fishing and playing baseball, and all the important things I like to do in the summer. Nick likes to play baseball. Ask him. He came off of a 6-week knee injury. We really missed him this summer. He was out for about 6 weeks.
You can still play drums with a sick knee, can't you?
No.
No.
He couldn't bend it. He couldn't sit down and bend it.
You should have one of those drum machines, Nick.
No, don't keep.
Every drummer hates.
He's sitting over there saying, exactly.
What did he say?
How much do they cost? How many weeks would it take to pay it off?
I know.
I almost got to that point with the piano.
You would love, people out there, you would love this pianist's face. He's sitting there, arms folded, looking thoroughly bored.
Well, I heard his mother loved his face, and she might have been the only one. Now, actually, Mike is, I consider him to be a good friend, and at least I did until today.
Whether he considers you to be a good friend, this might be a one-sided relationship.
That's true. It has become that way, quickly, in fact. These guys are just real businessmen. I mean, as far as they get out there, I never had to worry about them being there late. They've just been super professional, and that's the key too.
Yeah.
A lot of bands, most bands break up because the guys can't stand each other after 3 or 4 months. We hate each other, but we don't spend time social. Yes, we're businessmen. Money talks, and the rest of it is, beside the point.
Well, play some more for us.
All right. Well, we'll do a little more blues here. This of course, features the 9 nimble fingers and the 1 clumsy one of Tim Matson. That's very funny. That's the 1 clumsy one. Anyhow, it's a thing called Blues at Sunrise. Sunrise in the east, baby. Sunset deeply in the west. Sunrise in the east, sunset deeply in the west. Searching for my baby. People, I haven't found her. Call California. See if my baby's over there. Los Angeles, California. See if my baby's over there. Early in the morning, people, you know I can't find my lover nowhere. She won't write me no letter. She won't call me on my telephone. She won't write the old man no letter. She won't call me on my telephone. Well, I haven't met a woman with such good personality, that's right, since my baby's been gone. Ah, the older I get, the more I like that personnel.
It's Mr. Stress, and I'll introduce them again. This Bill Miller playing wonderful harmonica, and that talking guitar was Tim Matson, and Nick Tranchito. I got that. Are you Mexican, Nick? He's on drums. Raymond DeForest on bass, and Mike Sands on the piano. And my name is Seona McDowell. This is WCPN, and...
Love to lie and a lot of love, all hanging on with push and shove. Possession is the motivation that is hanging up the goddamn need. Seems like we always end up in this rut. I don't need it now, trying to make it real compared to what. President, he had his war. Folks don't know just what it's for. Nobody gives you a rhyme or reason. Have one doubt, they call it treason. Seems like we speak at heart without some nerve. We don't need them now, trying to make it real compared to what. Come on, Timmy, now. Church on Sunday, sleeping night, trying to duck the wrath of God. Preachers filling us with fright, all trying to teach us what they think is right. They really got to be some kind of nut. We don't need them now, trying to make it real compared to what.
We've just been listening to Mr. Stress, and he's one of the most famous names around Cleveland, he and his blues band. And if you go to the Euclid Tavern on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, they've been there since the year dot, and if you go there, it's a really fun night, and it's a dancing night, and it's a listening night, and that's Mr. Stress, and he's one of the names synonymous with Cleveland. I thought I'd just give you a few places to go in this month, because there's lots and lots of things going on. There's the National Folk Festival.